All right, time for an exercise. This exercise I'm going to give you is one of my favorites because it's a common interview question that big companies like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google use a lot. So let's say we have some text. I want you to write a program to find the most repeated character in this text. So pause the video, work on this exercise for 5 to 10 minutes. When you're done, come back, continue watching. All right, how do we solve this problem? Well, first we need to know how many times each character is repeated. Once we have that information, then we can find the most repeated character. What kind of data structure is useful for storing this information? A dictionary, because a dictionary is a collection of key value pairs. So here we can use the characters as the keys and the repetition as the value. So I'm going to start by defining an empty dictionary. Let's call it char or character frequency. We set it to an empty dictionary. Now we need to iterate over this string, get each character, and update its frequency in this dictionary. So we need a for loop for char in sentence. Now first we need to see if we have this character in our dictionary. If we don't have it, we need to set its frequency to 1. Otherwise, we need to increment the frequency. So if char in char frequency, if we do have it, then we simply get the value and increment it by 1. Otherwise, we need to add it to our dictionary. So char frequency of char, we set it to 1. So let's print this dictionary and see what we get. Char frequency. There you go. Run the program. So capital T is repeated once, H is repeated once, I is repeated 5 times, and so on. Now this output is a little bit unreadable, so I'm going to show you a trick to make it more readable. We have a module called pretty printing. So on the top, from pprint module, we need to import pprint function. With this function, we have more control over printing stuff on the terminal. So here, instead of the regular print function, we use pprint, and as the second argument, we pass a keyword argument called width that determines the number of characters on each line. If this output doesn't fit, this function will add a line break. Let's set this to 1 and see what happens. We run the program. So this is a better way of printing a dictionary. So now we have all the information to solve this problem. The next step is to sort this dictionary by the frequency of characters. However, as I told you before, dictionaries, like sets, are unordered collections. We cannot sort them. We can only sort lists. So we need to pull out the items in this dictionary and put them in a list for sorting. So basically, we need to take out each key value pair, convert it to a tuple, and then put it in a list. We'll end up with a list of tuples that we can easily sort. So how do we do this? Pay close attention to what I'm going to do. I'm going to call the sorted function. Earlier you learned that this function takes an iterable and sorts it. As the iterable, I'm going to pass char frequency dot items. Earlier you learned that this method returns all the key value pairs as tuples. So at this point, if we print this result, let's see what we get. We get a list of tuples. In each tuple, we have 2 items. The first is the character, and the second is the repetition or frequency. But as you can see, this list is not sorted because by default, this sorted function doesn't know how to sort these tuples. So earlier I told you that we can pass a second argument here, key. We set this to a lambda, which is an anonymous function. This function takes a key value pair and returns the value. So that is key value of 1. That is the frequency of each character. We're going to use that for sorting. So let's run the program one more time. Now, as you can see, this list is sorted. So T is the least repeated character, and space and I are the most repeated characters. Now we need to reverse the sorting. So back to our sorted function. As the third argument, we're going to pass a keyword argument, reverse equals true. Save the changes, run the program one more time. Now, all these items are sorted in descending order. Beautiful. So instead of printing the result, let's store it in a list like char, frequency, underline sorted. Finally, the first item in this list is the solution to our problem. So we simply print char frequency sorted of 0. Save the changes, run the program one more time. So I is the most repeated character with 5 repetitions. Now one final improvement. You can see the code on line 12 is kind of outside the screen. Partly this is because I've zoomed in so you can see properly. But PEP8 recommends a maximum of 80 characters on one line. So if you have a line that is too long, it's better to break it down into multiple lines. This makes your code more readable. So here, I'm going to list each argument on a new line, like this. That is better. And that brings us to the end of this section. In the next section, you're going to learn about errors and exceptions. I hope you enjoyed this section, and thank you for watching.